Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Live with Mel. This episode is brought to you by Yellow Cab Company of DC. If you're looking to avoid rideshare prices, then check out the Yellow Cab Company of DC when you are in the nation's capital. Former President Trump has been banned from several social media sites. We saw over the course of several years Trump being banned from Twitter. He's had multiple bans from Facebook, which were all temporary bans, but bans nonetheless. Now, Trump is a big user of social media, and he uses social media to speak directly to his followers and people who support his political ideology. Now, having Trump removed from places like Twitter was a big blow to him and his conservative base. Now, many people who follow Trump believe that the bans from social media was unfair. However, many of the companies that banned him, specifically Twitter, have stated that Trump has continuously violated policy. And the thing that really put the nail in the coffin was the January 6th insurrection. After the January 6th insurrection, many people from several different social media companies believed that his rhetoric incited the violence that caused the January 6th insurrection. And after the January 6th insurrection, many social media sites permanently banned him. The biggest one, like I stated before, being Twitter. Now, President Trump isn't the only conservative voice to be banned on social media sites. We're seeing other politicians, such as Marjorie Taylor Greene, being banned as well and permanently banned for, again, conversation surrounding January 6th and conversation surrounding COVID-19 and also spreading false information. Now, conservatives have decided that they want to try and form their own social media sites where they can freely speak about what they want to speak about, since major social media sites are censoring them because of inciting violence and also because of spreading false information when it comes to COVID-19. Now, we saw that Parler was a big site that drew in a lot of conservative voices. However, Parler was shut down for inciting violence by the Apple App Store and by the Google Play Store as well. And Amazon also did not want to be the host site for the Parler platform. So once again, many conservatives were pushed out of social media. Now, at this time, Trump is attempting to, again, create a social media site where conservative voices, specifically his own conservative voice, will be able to be heard. Now, President Trump has come out with his own social media site, Truth Social. Now, they have been talking about this for a while, and it is currently beta testing. However, on Monday, they did launch Truth Social on the Apple App Store. Now, many people flocked to it and they tried to sign up for this conservative app. They tried to come on and sign up. While many people were successful in creating the Truth Social profile, many people were put on a wait list. They're saying that there was such a demand for joining the social media sites that the app could not keep up, and many people were put on a wait list. Now, at this time, the site is up and you can attempt to join Truth Social. However, at this time, many people, as they're trying to sign up, are being put on wait lists. And some people have tried over and over and over again, were able to actually sign up for the site. Now, what does this mean altogether for social media? We have to actually wait and see, because again, we have to see if Truth Social will be able to follow the policies that are put in place for Apple App Store. Now, it's not available at Google at the moment, but it is available for Apple users. Now, again, former President Trump wants this to be a site where they are the champion of free speech. Now, many people view that as they can say whatever they want without any type of consequences. Because again, President Trump and a lot of people from his party, the conservative base, conservative politicians, have been booted off of social media sites because of the rhetoric that they use on these social media sites, and it goes against policy. And the two big ones is spreading misinformation about COVID-19 and rhetoric that incites some type of violence. Now, if Truth Social is able to, again, follow the policies of Apple, this could be a social media site that stays around for a long time. But it does depend on how the moderators from Truth Social moderates what is being said on the app. Now, Truth Social it is not just one social media site. The parent company that has created Truth Social is looking to go ahead and infiltrate all types of media. They're trying to create news, they're trying to create movies, they're trying to create social media sites where the conservative voice can be heard, because they do believe that the conservative voice is trying to be censored. Now, this is very important, because if President Trump has the ability to control all of these different forms of entertainment, he can control the type of information that reaches his base. And many people do believe that that could be dangerous, because if people are only consuming media from Trump's sources, it could spread misinformation. And again, that is something that some people are worried about. Now, on the conservative side of things, many conservatives are happy about this because they're believing that this is going to give them a voice and they will be able to speak freely without seeing these 90-day bans from Facebooks, without people coming and jumping down their throats. Now, many people do believe that this is going to be a champion of free speech, while other people believe this is going to be a conduit for misinformation surrounding politics and surrounding public health as well. But at this time, we do have to wait and see. But let's go ahead and go to the comments. So Wade says, shit broke, laugh my ass off. Joanna says, there's a difference between uncensored and free speech. Wade says, there's a difference between uncensored and free speech. And then Joanna says, what do you mean waitlist? So at the moment, if you try to sign up for Truth Social, which again is President Trump's social media company, they're now putting people on a wait list. And their reasoning behind it is that there was so much demand to sign up for the social media site that they were unable to keep up with the demand, and they couldn't make as many profiles as they could. So basically, they didn't have the ability to keep up with the amount of people they're saying they want to sign up for the site. So now there's a wait list. Amanda says, now if something else detrimental happens that is an insurrection level, will they in turn get in trouble for terrorism or violence? And there is a possibility for that, Amanda. And that's one of the reasons that many different social media sites like Twitter, like the Apple App Store and Google Play, got rid of Parler. And why Twitter is banning people, because they don't want to be held liable for something January 6th like to happen. However, since we are seeing that a lot of this information was flying around on social media, there is a possibility that there could be pockets that are formed within the site where they do talk about inciting some type of violence or spreading misinformation. And that is what a lot of people are worried about with this social media site, Truth Social. Joanna says, I thought they were charging a weekly fee. I don't think so, Joanna. It's going to be free like most social media sites. Amanda also says, I think there's a place for free speech, but misinformation can be deadly. And again, that is what people are worried about this site. Joanna also says, sure, we'll give them a voice to continue division and hate, shaking my head. Now, again, many people are going back and forth about Truth Social. But since today is the first day that it is available to the general public, even though many people are being put on wait lists, we do have to wait and see how this will turn out. Because again, in order to stay on the Apple App Store, they have to follow Apple's policies when it comes to regulating hate speech and dealing with things that encourage violence. So while they may go down the same path as Parler, they do want to maintain their app on the Apple App Store. They don't want to be kicked off. So we'll see how they go about essentially censoring and monitoring this app. Now, the next thing that is very important to realize when we're talking about the social media site is the data that is available on the sites. Now, when people sign up for social media apps, they're giving these apps permission to take data from them. They're giving these sites such as Facebook, such as Twitter, Instagram, and now Truth Social, the ability to gather data from them. And with the Trump team, we know that data is very important to them. Now, if we go back to the election, the first election with Trump, that he won the presidency, we do know that he used the now shamed data collection company, consulting company, Cambridge Analytica. And they used the data from Cambridge Analytica that Cambridge Analytica took from Facebook in order to target their ads to various people across the United States. Now, once it came out that Cambridge Analytica was using these data points, there was a lot of scrutiny surrounding it, and many people did feel violated that their data was being used in that way. We saw through the congressional hearings, we saw through the media covering it, how people were upset about their data being used in that way. Now, Cambridge Analytica is a third-party site. They acquired the data from Facebook, they plugged the data in, they mapped things out, and they were able to come up with several hundred data points for many, many Facebook users. And because they had those data points for their campaign, they were more easily able to target specific groups of people in order to get more people to start following Trump and to vote for Trump as well. Now, we're in this situation where many people are now saying that they want to protect their data because of privacy reasons. But with Trump creating this media group, he and his team are now able to collect the data that Facebook was collecting on their own. So while this is a smart idea in order to give conservative voices a bigger platform where they won't be censored, something else that people do have to realize is they're also allowing their data to be given to this company who previously used similar data in an unscrupulous way. So instead of using Facebook to pass it on to Cambridge Analytica, essentially users of Truth Social are now giving their data fully to the Trump media company and essentially cutting out Cambridge Analytica and Facebook as well. So they will have the ability to have all of these data points without having to deal with third-party companies. And then let's go ahead and go to the comments now. So Wade says, I think there's a difference, Amanda. I think there's a call for the ability to speak freely. At the same time, it's also our responsibility to let people know that just because someone says something, it may not be true. Amanda says, like, are there fact checkers on Truth Social, like they demand from liberal media, or is everything just taken as truth? So at this time, we're just going to have to wait and see if there are fact checkers and what they're actually checking for. Now, when we go on social media, we do know that a lot of major conservative voices that are in the public eye, like commentators and politicians, are constantly talking about the fact checkers and if they're actually valid fact checkers. So Truth Social could possibly have fact checkers, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. And we're also gonna have to wait and see if they truly are fact checkers or if they're opinion checkers. But again, at this time, that really can't be answered until we see how the app performs. Now, Amanda also says, because conservatives said that fact checkers were taking stuff down and muting them, so I don't think they'd allow them on an app used for free speech. Again, we're going to have to wait and see. But because they are on the Apple App Store, Truth Social will have to follow the policies that Apple sets out for any app in the store. So they're going to have something. Even though they're saying they are the champion of free speech, they're still being held to the standards that Apple has put out there. And when they do eventually make it onto the Google Play Store, they're going to have to follow the policy of the Google Play Store as well. So again, while they may not be happy about fact checkers, they're going to have some type of way to moderate the discussions in order to keep them on these major platforms. Now, Wade says, I got fact checked the other day for a Kermit the Frog joke. Yes, checkers are going too far, LOL. Now, again, many people are making a lot of assumptions about Truth Social, but today is the first day that it has been launched. While if you do try to get on it at the moment, you will probably be put on a wait list because there was such a huge rush to the app. In the next few weeks, when they do allow more people onto the app, we will see how the app performs and how the communication within the app is being monitored as well. Again, many people are talking about, will this just be an app where people can talk, have hate speech, and where people can incite violence or spread misinformation? They're still being held. They are still 100% being held to the policies of the Apple App Store. So they will not be able to just run around and let everyone talk about everything. But I don't know to what degree they will moderate the conversations on the app. Now, again, we saw that Parler tried to do that. We saw that Parler was the app last year of the Conservative Party, and they attempted to allow people to say whatever they want, whenever they want it. And many people believe that the rhetoric from Twitter had a huge part to do with the January 6th insurrection, with the violence that happened at the Capitol January 6th. And because of that, I do believe that Apple, and again, once it goes on to Google Play, will be monitoring the app heavily because of this to ensure that violent rhetoric is not spreading across the app. But again, we do have to wait and see. And we do know that Trump does not want his social media app to go the same way that Parler did. Because again, Parler was kicked off of the Apple App Store, of the Google Play Store, and Amazon as well did not want to host it because of the rhetoric surrounding the app. So while they're saying that they want to encourage any type of discussion, while they want to be the champion of free speech, they still have to follow the policies of the various app stores that they are in. Now, Joanna says, with Trump followers, there is no need for fact checkers. Whatever is written or said will be their holy grail. That's the danger. Now, again, a lot of people are talking about the danger of the rhetoric, but they still have to follow the policies that are put in place by the Apple App Store and Google Play when they do eventually make their way to Google Play. Now, at the time, the Trump Media and Technology Group, which is the parent company, is looking to expand even further. They want to have news channels. They want to make movies. They want to make TV shows. They want to continue building this app. And in order for them to build this, they're going to have to be able to keep these various media and entertainment companies in check and in line. So again, while people are concerned about how the rhetoric will be on the apps, in order for the company to maintain and stay alive and create these various other organizations within the umbrella company, they're going to have to follow policies of Apple at the moment, again, of Google Play. Now, like I said before, many people are concerned for several different reasons. You have the rhetoric that could possibly go on the app, but again, we have to wait and see about that, but also because of the data that the app will be able to take about the people. Many people at the moment are concerned about their data. and how their data is being used. Like I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, the Trump campaign hired Cambridge Analytica to get data about people in order to specifically get ads, target ads to people. The way that Cambridge Analytica and Facebook acquired the data was considered by many to be unethical. Now, Trump has stated that he wants to run again in the next presidential election. We do know that he wants to be president again. And since Facebook and Cambridge Analytica have essentially been shamed for this, he's not going to go down that path again. However, by creating these various media companies, he is allowing himself, his company, and his campaign access to a lot of different data points while now no longer having to use a third-party company. Because Trump will be able to acquire that data directly from his social media company, directly from the social media site, I do think that it's something that people have to be worried about. Trump will no longer need Facebook. Trump will no longer need Cambridge Analytica. Trump will have everything he needs in order to get that data that many people are trying to keep private from his own media companies. So I do think that is something that people do need to talk about, that people do need to discuss, and that people do need to be wary about as well. Now, again, many conservatives are happy about this app. They feel as though that they will have the opportunity to have a voice where they do not feel as though they have a voice on other various social media pages. Many conservatives are unhappy with Facebook. They believe that they're being censored, that their conservative views are being censored. Many conservative politicians are being kicked off of Twitter. Again, because Twitter says that they're spreading misinformation and that they're inciting violence. Many conservatives are going to flock to Truth Social because they believe that will be the only place that they can share their views. So while many people are worried about data, while many people are worried about the rhetoric that could be spread around these apps, conservatives are feeling another way. They're feeling as though this is going to be their safe space where they can talk, discuss, and have a dialogue about their ideas and their views. And while there are two opposing views when it comes to what could happen on Truth Social, at this time, we're just going to have to wait and see because today was the first day that it was made available to the general public. Now let's go ahead and pull these comments up. Let's see. So Joanna says, with Trump followers, there's no need for fact checkers. Whatever is written or said, they'll be their holy grail. That's the danger. Wade says, you have chosen wisely, Joanna. Laugh my ass off. Amanda says, don't they already have media entertainment? Fox is still around. So I will say this about Fox. While Fox is still the biggest conservative network at the moment, many conservatives are looking to jump ship with Trump for different reasons. They don't believe that Fox News aligns with the ideologies that Trump has. And they've been looking for news sites that are even further right than Fox. Now, I know we talk about this all the time, how Fox actually isn't a news company, so they're not held to the same journalistic standards. They are listed as an entertainment company, but many conservatives do get their news from Fox. However, many conservatives are trying to find media, news that swing even further right. Wade says, yes, Amanda, for Fox Fuckery Entertainment News, LOL. Wade says, if I remember correctly, he can only be president for one more term, not two in a row, right? Yep, you are correct. So he does have the ability to be president one more time. Amanda says, wasn't Cambridge Analytica the people behind the Facebook scandal? Even though they're not considered fact checkers, they said they're a consulting group. Yes, so Cambridge Analytica partnered with Facebook in order to collect data points for various campaigns. Now, Cambridge Analytica collected data and gave the information to Ted Cruz, to Trump. So both of those campaigns actually hired Cambridge Analytica. And if you even go worldwide, you'll even see that the folks who Brexit actually use Cambridge Analytica as well to target people who they believe is more susceptible to falling towards that side of the campaign. But they are the folks that were part of the Facebook scandal. Joe says, how will Trump have access to data from people not on his social media site? His data will not be complete. Well, so when we look at the data points, most of the time when campaigns are looking at data points, they don't necessarily want data points from people who they know will already follow them. So essentially, they're looking for data points or people that could swing either way. And people who could swing either way may join Truth Social. Actually, there's a big possibility that they will join Truth Social out of curiosity. So they can get the data from people who are on the fence in order to push them over to the right. And again, that's what Cambridge Analytica did for the previous campaign where Trump won. Cambridge Analytica was able to see who would respond to what type of advertisement, to what type of rhetoric. And they found these people and they allowed the Trump campaign to target ads to the pressure points that would really push them. And because of this information, Trump really did build his campaign around what those pressure points were. So they're not necessarily going after people who are far left, because again, they know that's not necessary. And they're not going after people who are far right. They're going after people who are right there in the middle. And people who are right there in the middle will most likely join Truth Social because it's another social media site and people like to use social media. So Amanda says he's only got 4 years left, but he's got sons that can use as puppets for the conservative. And it's not just about Trump, because right now, Trump has built a new conservative party. And many people who do follow Trump and believe in his ideology also have other politicians that they're champions of. For example, Marjorie Taylor Greene. So we have these politicians that are building their base around Trump's base as well. So it's not just Trump's son. It's politicians who do look up to Trump and follow his ideology, who can then follow in his footsteps and continue to build the political ideology that Trump has. So while many people may try and think that it's a dynasty that Trump is trying to build, it's much bigger than that. So yes, he probably will encourage his children to run for the presidency one day. He does have a loyal following, a loyal base, and loyal politicians that he can also encourage to run for the presidency after he runs again. Joanna says, let's say Trump sure knows how to get people talking about him. His ego must be on high at this very moment, seeing his name being tweeted left and right. Now, at the end of the day, Trump is, since his beginnings as a real estate mogul, he has known how to generate information around his name. It could be a good buzz, it could be a bad buzz, but he knows that it's very important to maintain his name in the world. And he did this back with Page Six in the New York Post. Page Six was a gossip rag. Before the day of social media, and Trump himself would leak stories to the reporters, to the writers of Page Six. And he says, whether it was good or bad, he would leak stories about himself as long as they stated that he was a billionaire. And that's where the big buzz around Trump being a billionaire really started. And again, this was before social media. This was back in the day where people would get out of the subway, grab their newspaper, grab the New York Post, grab their coffee in that blue and white cup, and they would read about President Trump. So that is one thing. So he wasn't President Trump at that time, but it is one thing that Trump does a really good job at doing. He is a master of PR. He knows that in order for him to stay relevant, his name constantly has to be in the news. It constantly has to be trending, and he does a marvelous job at that. So let's see. Jeffrey says, many progressives are being intensely censored on social media sites such as Facebook. I think at this time, everyone, because Facebook is facing so much scrutiny, everyone is being censored. I do think conservatives are louder about it, but at this time, because Facebook has been facing so much scrutiny that they have turned their censorship onto 1,000. And anything that could be perceived to be kind of controversial, if it is reported, Facebook is just kicking people off temporarily. That's why you're seeing these 7-day, 30-day, 60, 90-day bans. So again, Facebook is trying to cover its own behind. Joe says it will only be data from like-minded people. Not sure how that helps him. He already knows how his base feels about him and thinks. So I disagree with that. I think you'll be surprised how many people will actually sign up for the site to see what's going on. So I do think that the far right will sign up for the site. I do think that conservatives who are a little bit more moderate will sign up for the site. I do think moderates will. And I do think people who slightly lean left will. The people who probably won't sign up for the site are people who are far left. But I think it's going to be another social media site, and some people may just sign up to troll. Some people may sign up out of curiosity, and some people may sign up just to see the site fail and watch it in real time. But again, I do think it's going to be a bigger sign up than what we think, and I think it's going to be more than just the far right. Joe also says, will the division between the split Republicans cause weakness in the elections? No, not this midterm and not the upcoming presidential election. I think further on it will, but I think right now with the things like the Freedom Convoy, with the vaccine mandates, I believe that's a strong enough thing that almost all conservatives share that it's enough to unite them. So I do think for the midterm elections, we're going to see a huge conservative rollout and a lot of conservatives voting for conservatives because of these policies that were put in place. And again, as they would like to say, limit freedom, but again, for public health. Many conservatives, although they may believe in vaccines, they do not believe in mandating vaccines. And I think that belief of the mandates, of not having things mandated, is enough to keep the Republican Party together at this time. Now, once COVID passes, once it's something that we just deal with on a yearly basis, I think that's when we're going to start seeing a big splinter of the Republican Party. But right now, because of the mandates, that is the glue that's keeping the far right and the regular conservatives together. So let's see. Amanda says, agree, Joanna. Wade says, we don't use the F word here. Jeffrey, LOL. Amanda says, I'm in Facebook jail for Dahmer meme I posted 6 years ago. Talk about that later. Joe says, they do stick together much better than Democrats. I do agree with that. And it's usually because Republicans do a really, really good job of finding something that they can all agree on and holding on to that and making that the main talking point. And right now it's vaccine mandates. Even conservatives who believe in the vaccine do not believe that it should be mandated. And as long as they make a big enough buzz about that, it's able to hold the Republican Party together. Even though they may disagree on many, many things, that is what's being pushed to the forefront, and that is the glue that's keeping the Republican Party together. Even though moderate Republicans, conservatives may not agree with the ideology of the far, far right. And that's why, and we'll jump into Canada, because again, while this is happening in Canada, there are many Americans who are taking part in the Freedom Convoy. That's why they can get together and someone can have a swastika flag. And even though the person does not believe in that ideology of white supremacy, they know that they're both there together in order to fight the vaccine mandate. And that will keep them together and keep them from bumping heads, even though they don't have the same ideology when it comes to white supremacy. They know they're both there for the same thing. So again, finding something that all Republicans, all conservatives believe in is something that is able to keep the Republican Party together. Even though there are many different views within the Republican Party in which direction it can go, they're all uniting under the vaccine mandate. Joanna says, While many will sign up not because they are pro-Trump, but because they are curious, not for popularity. And again, that's something that is a big deal. It's something that people are going to sign up for because they're curious. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I definitely went over today, but I'm happy that we can keep the conversation going. Let me know what your thoughts are on the comment section below. If you agree with me, that's great. Let me know in the comment section below. If you disagree with me, that is great as well. Let me know in the comment section below. Let's continue to have the discussion, whether you're watching this on Roku or whether you're watching this on the NSL TV app, or maybe you're watching on social media. Let me know what your thoughts are about Truth Social and what direction you think it's going to take. Thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Mel. I come live every single Monday through Wednesday to bring you guys current events, politics, everything that's happening in the world. Have a great day, everyone, and I will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. This has been Live with Mel. See you guys tomorrow.